Hello.
My word, all those wonderful discs you've got behind you.
Oh, that's just my fancy silverware.
I've got to hand it to you. This California Gold album, it's fantastic. I've been listening to it. And the first track just blew me away. It was just such a good album, and Bobby Whitlock's voice on it is incredible. Um, I suppose my first question is, I believe this album was recorded in the late 70s. So what's the history behind it, and why was it brushed aside?
It was recorded in '78,
Yeah.
and back in that was about 6 years, I think, after Creedence broke up, and Stu and I had a production company and had tried some different things, and I thought, well, I think I'll go get involved with what I really know, and that's get a band and do a little recording and play some gigs and so on and so forth. So
Mhm.
um, that's kind of the reason. And I was with Duck, and I asked him if he knew of any singers out there of merit that might want to work with me, and he said, "Yeah." He says, "Bobby Whitlock." And I said, "Bobby Whitlock." "Oh, Derek and the Dominoes." "Yeah, okay." So Duck got a hold of Bobby, and Bobby said he would love to do something. And he was in LA and drove up to the Bay Area where I was living.
Yeah.
And he came up with, I mean, he was broke. He came up in 57 Chevy with a pregnant wife and a 3-year-old daughter, and came into the house, and we started talking about what possible what would be could be possible with a project. And so we thought, pretty much the standard thing: get a band, and we've got the nucleus of it. We're the songwriters on all of it. So co-writes, and we had that part was really easy. That fell together beautifully, and so here we are. We got these songs, and I said, we better record these things or we'll forget them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that happens, especially if you have in the middle of the night and you have this great idea for a song. You better get your ass out of bed and write it down, and or get some sort of recording, even if it's just a cassette,
Sure.
uh, so you'll remember what you have. So we got Duck, and we did some recording, and with a fellow named Michael O'Neill on guitar.
Mhm.
And then Duck got invited to be a blues brother with John Belushi and the boys. So he said, "Hey, I got to do this. This is a lifetime dream." And we said, "Absolutely, we wish you well, and we know you'll do well." And so that sort of put a dent in our plan. And the guitar players, I don't remember what happened or what, but something came up. "Oh, this is my dream." And I said, "No, this is my nightmare." So, and then Bobby's wife wanted to uh, move. I forget where, and that sort of just finished it off. So I took the tapes, put them in the vault, and then I had other things in there. The Clifford Wright project with
Yeah.
Steve Wright and myself. Same thing. We were the songwriters, and in this case the rhythm section. And again, things just didn't work out. Into the you go. So um, I remembered working with Bobby on that project, and I thought, I know there's some good stuff in there because I recorded it, it's tucked it away in the vault. So sure enough, brought it out, and it sounded even better than I remembered it. And I said, this is worthy of being an album out there now, especially now with the world upside down. This kind of music for me is medicine. Or not always, but in times like this, it's medicine, and I think it's Bobby's best vocal.
Fantastic.
I'll take a little credit for that, because he was smoking cigarettes like a chimney, and I just, we were rehearsing. I'm here. I've been around some pretty good vocalists, and I said, you got to quit smoking cigarettes. So he did, and then after a couple of weeks of no cigarettes, then I said, now you've got to start running. You got to run every day, and not sprints, but we'll set up a run for you, because I was already doing all that stuff. And so it made a big difference in his instrument. And when you have something that is improved as much as that improved it, that was very stimulating for him. And with the guys we had around us as players, including him on B3, he put he could reach for things and really nail them, and so but still it didn't get any farther than the vault, and now now is the time.
I'm certainly glad you put it out, because I was certainly impressed with it, and you've got some impressive people playing on that album. Tom Miller, David Vega, Mike O'Neill. And interestingly, Donald Duck Dunn, of course, I think he passed away in 2012 as well. But
right,
it must have been a thrill working with him, because you guys in Creedence, you were big Booker T and the MG fans, weren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. I'd become friends with Duck, and I actually produced 3 albums with Duck. One was, believe it or not, a folk artist. And with Duck and I as a rhythm section, but we said, hey, now this is a folk artist. Let's put a little bit of his thing in our pot, and then vice versa. And it didn't do anything, but it was a project, and I got a budget from the record company. So I said, you want to make a record and put a little recording money in our pocket? Sure, well, let's do it. So then I had a solo album in '72, and he was on that. And I did a Nashville session, and he was on that. And then just hanging out with him, just being a buddy. He's one of the funniest people I'd ever met. Character, and what a bass player. I mean, it's just. And then my idol was Al Jackson Jr. So, there was his partner, another untimely death there. So yeah, we were buddies, and I'm really sorry that he passed.
Yeah. Where is out of interest? Where is Purple? There's a track on this album called Purple Mountain.
Right.
Where is Purple Mountain? And what's the inspiration for this one?
I was living in Berkeley Hills, which is a very nice area. A lot of older homes, multiple stories, and a lot of English Tudor designed homes. And so and then I was facing the bay, and I had a view of the Golden Gate Bridge, the Oakland Bridge, and I forget the other one, but the main one was the Golden Gate Bridge. There was a terrific view, and I looked out when I would look out at that view. Behind it was Mount Tamalpais.
Right.
So it's a mountain on the across the bay on the San Francisco side. And we're writing that song. I was looking, just staring at it, and I said, you know, that's inspiring. You know, I'm looking at it in a different way now than daily look. You know, looking at something that's in the view that's nice. Well, I said, I'm going to squeak this in here somewhere, and that's the Purple Mountain.
Right. Okay. Did Bobby Whitlock? He was writing for this album as well. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
I would say probably 85-90% of the lyrics were mine, and I would say the same percentage would be him coming up with melodies and or chord changes that we could squeeze a melody out of, get some traction there. So it was and once in a while I would just start a groove. We'd work get an idea, a drum idea, and he would come in, play something against what I was doing then. And if it either worked or it didn't work. You either continue on with that idea or you don't. And but we, you know, the tools that we had in our tool chest were all put to use in the writing.
Who are your biggest influences in terms of drumming? And are there any contemporary drummers that catch your eye?
Well, Carmen Apice is a guy that's been around a long time and has a lot of chops for sure. But he uses them tastefully. I've met him a couple of times, and of course Charlie, bless his heart. Big miss Charlie. I got a chance to meet him at Nebworth, and we hung out for about an hour and just chatted to two old drummers with a lot of similar ways of approaching our instrument. But in California Gold, I'm more active with my drumming than just about anything I've done, just because I think the guys that I had around me, inspired me to put things in that I otherwise wouldn't normally do. So that was fun, you know, to kind of step out of my wheelhouse and join the party.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm intrigued really. I wonder if will we ever see like reissues of the stuff you did with the Don Harrison band? Will that stuff ever get remastered or reissued, do you think?
I don't think I have no interest in it. Russell DeShiel is my executive producer on this stuff. Well, anyway, I don't want to talk to that person. Not that I don't like them, but we're working.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Don Harrison band is, I don't even know who has the rights to that. I know we put out 2 records on Atlantic, and but anyway, the stuff that, including California Gold, everything that's in the vault is a 2-track master. I don't have any of the multi-tracks for any of that stuff, and I was able to, with Russell's help, because he's a technical guy, I'm not. I know what things certain things can do, and you know, I'm aware of that. But he's the guy that I would tell him, how about this and this and that. And we would see how that worked, and then he would come up with something. Well, how about this, and this? Oh, let's try it. So, but it's kind of tough without the multi-track to mix and get a sound that is as good as California Gold, and the Clifford Wright project, same thing, 2-track mastered. And I don't know what ever happened to the multi-tracks. A couple of moves, I think, kind of left those behind. But as it's turned out, I've kind of learned some techniques and some things for just that situation. 1/4-inch tape, two tracks, stereo mix, and we did, as I say, some work on it, and then passed it off to the mastering man.
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends is from the Bay Area.
Yeah. I mean, it seems to me, a few books I've read is that Creedence seemed to want to distance itself from that whole sort of psychedelic scene way back in the 60s. I mean, why was that? And is Rude Awakening #2 a kind of dig at bands like the Grateful Dead?
Absolutely. They laughed at us and called us the Boy Scouts of rock and roll, and that we'd never make it playing that kind of music. Well, we went to #1 in the world, and dethroned the Beatles. Of course, Paul McCartney had a hand in that, but the Royal Albert Hall was our coming across the pond to play American rock and roll by Americans, because the Americans weren't playing American rock and roll anymore. The Brits were. And thank God for them, because it could have really disappeared wherever it was going. And that was one of the things that the Beatles did. When we saw them on TV, we were at a point where we were thinking about packing it in. We had been together about 6 years and had no success. But when we saw them on Ed Sullivan, we went, "Wow! Look at these guys. I mean, they're into it. They've got it. They're students of the music. They've got the grooves. They've got the songs. They've got everything. Thank God for the Beatles." So that kind of was a shot in the arm for us and kept us going. And then later on, we looked at dethroning them, and that's just anytime I'm an athlete, so I think that way. I'm competitive, and I want to, in the case of the Royal Albert Hall, we were in the Beatles' house, and wanted to show them, as they showed us when they came over and came to America.
Do you have any memories of that Albert Hall gig?
Oh yeah, it was just so incredible to be. It was our first trip to Europe, and the first time actually John and Tom and I had been out of California, so we were novices for sure. and we played in several other countries as well. But the one that we had in our sights was the Royal Albert Hall date. We were coming to the Brits literally to physically be in their house, and I remember that was very inspiring. To be there and to think, hey, wow, this is where Ringo's at.
Yeah, I mean, it's a prestigious venue.
Oh yeah. One of the most underrated drummers to ever be on the planet. I feel sorry for him in some ways, because he got the raw end of criticism. Look who he had to build his groove around. That was brilliant work, and to play it within the confines of that group, and to stay with it. One of my favorite drummers ever. In that sense, he was knowledgeable. He fit the glove, and hats off to Ringo.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Green River album is it seems to be to me it seems to be a lot about childhood nostalgia, and I'm just wondering, do you think the right time, the night time is the right time, fits in with that album?
Well,
it's a Ray Charles number, isn't it?
Beg pardon?
It's a Ray Charles number, isn't it?
Yeah. Ray Charles had the hit with it. We were putting albums out left and right. So, but at the same time, we had 11 or 12 cover songs spread out through the album. So that's what enabled us to be so prolific, is to not have every song be written by John. And so we had our favorites, because we played in the clubs for years, and that was one of the favorites, Power Ballad. And we didn't do any love songs. Creedence never did a love song, but I guess that would be as close to a love song that we did. I always liked it. I liked I liked Ray Charles' version better, but Ray, how do you top that?
That's right. Yeah. I mean, talk about cover versions. Were you thrilled when Elvis Presley, I think he recorded Proud Mary? Was that a thrill for you?
It was a thrill for me, and an even bigger thrill. I'll give you the story on it. We were number one in the world, and there was a touring company called Concerts West, and they were the guys that would take the cream of the crop, and do tours. And they did everything, and for just 10%. And they were great. And they had 4 artists, and the four artists they had Frank Sinatra, they had the Beach Boys, they had Creedence, and they had Elvis. So Elvis was coming to Oakland to play a gig there, and the guy at Concerts West says, "Hey, Elvis is coming to your neck of the woods, and he wants to meet you guys." He says, "Elvis wants to meet us." Elvis is a big fan, and he wants to meet you. We were going, "Holy crap!" So anyway, we go to the gig, and we're watching him do his thing, and he was in the white fringe leather outfit, and just tearing it up. And he finishes his song, and he walks up and to the microphone. He said, "I know they're out there. I know they're out there. This is for the Creedence boys, 2, 3, 4," and he goes into Proud Mary. Well, I'm bawling, I'm get a little weepy right now every time I tell that story. How cool is that? I mean that was probably in my career. That's right up at the very top of, wow.
Yeah.
Dedicated, proud Mary to us. But we didn't get to meet him. There was Elvis had to leave the building. He had a death threat. So, but he tipped the hat to us in the coolest possible way.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous story. What's the story behind the song Tombstone Shadow?
Well, that was early on, and we were doing a lot of straight blues songs, and it's just John is a guy that he, he always talked about the situation of where he had five. There were five Fogarty boys, five of them. He was in the middle, and the conditions in which they lived was they were not the best. And so, he carried that chip on his shoulder, and that's where that song came from.
Okay, okay. I've only got one more question for you. It's quite interesting. A chap named Griel Marcus said Mardi Gras is an outstanding experiment in rock egalitarianism, whereas John Landau said Mardi Gras set Creedence Clearwater Revival up to self-destruct. Who is right?
Well, I think that I would agree with it. We were forced to do that. In looking back, I think we should have just said we're done. But John said because Tom, we fought for Tom to be able to sing a song. It was Tom who put us in a studio environment. It was Tom who financed all of our recordings until we had hits. And he was a singer and writer and all these other things. And treated us as equals. My brother would kick my ass every day. My brother until I got to the point where I caught up with him in size and athleticism, and he realized at that point that he messed with me, I would kick his ass, and but Tom was not like that. Tom was just full of encouragement, and without Tom, there would be no Creedence, and so we had a hit, and Tom thought he was going to be able to sing. He didn't want the entire banana. He just wanted to be able to sing a song or two. Yeah. He could have done really well with La Bamba. And John said, "No, you don't submit any material. You're not singing on anything. Just play rhythm guitar and shut up." And that was awful. And I went to bat for Tom. So did Stu, but I really had problems with it, and that was one of the things that I thought was just so wrong. There were a lot of things. We needed a real manager, and I think that that might have somebody to get the brothers straightened out, and then somebody to get the record company straightened out, a real pro. But when Tom left, John gave Sue and I the ultimatum of you do a third, you do a third, and I'll do a third of the material. I won't sing on your songs because I have a unique voice. This is word for word. and we said, no, that's not what the fans want, John. He says, well, that's how it is, and if you don't do it, then we break up right now. And it was an ultimatum, and he claims that we forced him to do that. If you think about it, that is totally ludicrous. Why would we want to do that?
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's what happened, and he broke the band up anyway. So basically, what that was setting us up to take the fall for the breakup of the band, and we should have seen it coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Doug, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. This wonderful album of yours, California Gold, is it out now? Is it available to buy now?
It is.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not in cassette yet, but they're being manufactured. But you can pre-order a cassette,
Uh,
uh, and you can certainly download it at any place that downloads music.
mhm.
And yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm trying to get airplay. Airplay is what it's all about. If you don't hear something, you can't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a very enjoyable. I listen to it as a guy. When I listen to it, it's like I'm listening to a new band that's out, or a group of old veterans that have put something together, and it's from the heart and from the head. And that combination is a really good one for rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, I really like the album. I shall certainly. I've only listened to it as MP3 files at the moment for
All
review
right.
purposes, but I will certainly acquire a copy of the CD. I think 'cause I think it's a wonderful record. Um, Doug, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for agreeing to speak to me, and best of luck with that California Gold. I will put the purchasing link just below this video for anyone who wants to go and buy it. Once again, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Barry.
Okay. All the best. Bye bye.
Bye bye.